Turn off your lights. Make sure your doors and windows are locked. Things are about to get spooky. It's Too Late by Dumb Child 3. You get home from school, but the house is empty. All the furniture is gone. Then you notice a note on the floor. It says, "Hello, sweetie. This is your mother. I know that me, your father, and your little brother are gone. There's a lot to explain. I'll give you a list of rules to follow and leave safely. We were too late and had to leave. 1. Avoid them at all costs. If you see one, run. 2. All the doors should be locked. If one of them is unlocked, do not go in. Don't even look in the room. 3. Go to your bedroom. It's the only door I left unlocked. They are not there. 4. I repacked your stuff for you. If I didn't pack everything, quickly and quietly grab the stuff you need. 5. Under this note is $100 cash and my credit card number. You will need it. 6. Call your friend Kyle. Ask him to have a sleepover today. If he's at his mom's house, he will say yes. Ride your bike to his house. If he's at his dad's house, he will say no. There's no hope left and they will find you. 7. At Kyle's house, go to your phone and buy airplane tickets to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We will be there waiting for you. Make sure you buy them for the next day. 8. The next day, when it's time to leave, tell Kyle you have to go. This has to be before 10 a.m. If you stay after that time, it gives them enough time to find you. 9. After you tell him you will leave, get an Uber to the airport. 10. Do not interact with the Uber driver at all. It could be one of them. 11. When you get there, give the Uber driver some of the money and run into the airport as fast as you can. If you feel heavy breathing on your neck, pray and hope you get spared. 12. Get your boarding pass and get on the plane as normal. 13. Do not interact with anyone on the plane. There's a high chance of them being on the plane. 14. The plane will be there at exactly 3:26:56.07. Keep a stopwatch. If the plane is there at any different time, it's too late. 15. We should be there at the airport. Find us. 16. It's too late. I'm sorry, baby, we couldn't make it. You won't survive. At this point, we're all dead. My heart leapt as I saw the test results the gynecologist handed me. The green mark against genetic qualified meant that my daughter would continue my legacy to serve the country as a birth giver. They're in the Trees by GameShaker480. Growing up, I never truly believed in the concept of cryptids or anything I couldn't explain or understand. It always seemed unrealistic to me. But as I've become older, I've experienced things that don't have a logical explanation. For context, I live in a rural area consisting mostly of woods that surround my home, with my closest neighbor being about a half mile away. I'm also really into hunting with my son and my neighbors, but on this particular day, I was alone. At around 5 p.m., I headed out the back door into the large wooded forest that stretched for miles and miles just to do some light hunting and trail marking, when I came across a mutilated raccoon limply hanging off a tree limb. At the time, I just assumed that a bear or a coyote attacked it, but I did find it strange how it was slung around the branch. Throughout the rest of my hike, I didn't see any more mutilated animal corpses, which was nice considering I planned on eating dinner when I got back. After some trail marking, I headed back into my house and decided to invite my neighbors over. "Pretty weird shit, dude," my neighbor Tim told me. "How does a bear or a coyote nearly hang up a raccoon corpse like a fucking polo?" Truth be told, it was odd the way it was positioned, but I didn't think much of it up until he mentioned how odd it was. "Can I come with you tomorrow to check out some more of the woods?" Tim asked me. I told him that he could, and we decided to meet up for 4 p.m. As me and Tim head out to the woods, we decided to go further than usual to get some more trails marked. But I couldn't shake the feeling I was being watched the entire time, until me and Tim saw something that made our blood run cold. Hanging from a tree was a mutilated corpse of what looked like a man. Tim screamed, and I grabbed my phone to dial 911. When officers arrived onto the scene, we were both questioned about any suspicious activity in the area, but I explained how I hadn't seen anyone on my property, and Tim hadn't seen anyone either. Police chalked it up to self-unaliving, where the man must have snuck onto the property to go hang himself. But it was unsettling since I'm almost always home, and I have cameras around the property. One night, I woke up out of a dead sleep, sweating in my bed. I looked out my bedroom window, which faces the backyard, and to the edge of the woods, when I saw something that made my room go cold. Standing at the edge of the woods was a figure with unnaturally long limbs, no hair, and milky white eyes, staring right at my window. I wasted no time calling the police, making sure not to break eye contact with the figure until the squad car pulled up. When the police got out, they surveyed the yard, but the figure was nowhere to be found. For safety measures, the police advised me to stay with my neighbor Tim while a more thorough search of the property was conducted. After explaining the story to Tim, we set up a trail cam at the edge of the woods to collect footage over the next few days. The trail cam picked up the figure, but this time there were multiple, all lurking in the trees. Tim looked terrified, and for as long as I've known him, I've never seen him look so scared. The next night at Tim's house, I woke up to find him gone. I searched the whole house, then, fearing the worst, I checked the window. There, at the edge of the tree line, was Tim's lifeless corpse, hanging from the tree with about 5 figures, all with the same milky eyes and long limbs, staring right at the window I was facing out of. After the police were called, officers advised me to leave the area completely and to move in with a family member for my mental well-being. Now I live with my sister Sarah, and I see a trauma counselor regularly. I'm doing all right now, but I still think about those incidents a lot. Hang on, Sarah's calling. Weird. She's saying something's in the backyard, probably just an animal. I'm a male nurse, and after leaving work, I always call my wife to make sure she's safe because of the recent reports of a killer on the loose. I called her after getting into my car and she answered, but I thought I could hear the faint, distant sound of a guy screaming for help in the background, and my wife assured me that it was just the TV. I had to watch a horrible set of couple vlogs by MouseCurtains. I'm a wiki mod for YouTube. I know you don't have to tell me. I do it as a hobby. But that's not the importance of the story. I'm here today because I can't keep this to myself anymore. We all know Wiki, the fanfare crap of every comprehensive thing under the sun. The other mods told me about an A and K YouTube channel that I had no idea about. Some couple stuff that somehow got popular on Twitter that I couldn't care less about. Well guys, buckle in. A and K were two Mormon kids who lived in Salt Lake since the moment they were born. I suppose they thought the best way of making money was getting people to convert, saying how great their life was and what amazing parents they'd be. Show everyone what paradise they lived in from parents' wealth, and how great Mormonism was, with horrendous racism, whilst simultaneously placing multiple ads for a myriad of shamey scams every 2.5 minutes into every uploaded video. That was until 2017, August, when they stopped doing the couple's vlogs altogether. They were promised to each other, but excommunicated from Latter-day, and practiced Christianity apart. No Mormonism to be seen. The only way I can tell is because on August the 24th of 2017, Kay posted a video, alone, speaking to her currently 56, but I assume far less at the time, followers, that she was frightened. She mentioned the above. They had been told to leave the church after having matching tattoos to show their love for each other, and so they went on to regular church attending so that they may keep somewhat of a relationship with God. 29th vlog. What really began to interest me was how alert she looked. She was shifty, wide-eyed. She said she'd heard knocking at the front door of their apartment, which was heard throughout her vlog. The reason I know it wasn't A was he was in the background of videos in the hallway staring. It wasn't unnerving staring whatsoever. It was like a person who was waiting to speak but didn't want to upset the stream of consciousness being blurred out by Kay. Like he would do wrong if he tried to talk. Yet Kay seemed like she wasn't aware of his presence at all, as if she had never seen him stood awkward in the background once whilst filming, which was clearly recorded on a laptop. A few days later, A uploaded a video. It was titled, "I Don't Know What to Do." It depicted him staring in horror at the camera in the shared laptop. I assumed it was because the quality was identical. Crying as Kay slammed her head onto the ground, screeching out in agony for losing their child. I was horrified, seeing what I thought was a woman grieving after having a miscarriage of her child. I mean, losing a child is horrendous, something I could never imagine the pain of experiencing. Not to mention the importance of family life within the Mormon community adding to that, with no one to turn to due to being excommunicated. Yet, A said nothing. He looked at the camera, silent, as Kay slammed her head into the ground and wailed, over and over again. Then, the video ended, with nothing to add context to, without someone like myself having watched all the videos prior. Curiosity overwhelmed me, so I continued to watch. Kay made a video titled, "He'll Kill Me." She was convinced her husband, A, was going to kill her. A was present in the vlog, staying behind her with his head face to the ground. She displayed a horrible set of black eyes and a bulging forehead. She claimed A had haunted her or had convinced an evil spirit to take her in her sleep. It wasn't convincing whatsoever, as having witnessed her in A's vlog pretty much brutalizing herself on the floor and against the mantelpiece and whatnot. It was clear she was suffering some sort of horrific mental illness accelerated by the loss of her child. Until she showed her ligature marks on her wrist, she claimed she was being held hostage by an entity in her sleep, one that berated her endlessly for being unable to carry a child. The twist was, A held a gene in which babies he fathered were more likely to experience heart problems, leading to her miscarriage. I'm not sure how much of this is true, as I'm not a medical expert. This is only what Kay claimed. A continued to hold his head down. Kay said that it was his fault. He was absolute in having children, which would lead her to her death. That he made her this way. A began to slowly leave the room. Kay continued to ramble on and on about God, saying that he had an interest in them and how she was chosen. When she mentioned her family name was a God-given name by the LTS, A slapped the camera and the video ended. A month later, A posted a vlog, him documenting Kay's fall into madness, how she cried and wailed for her mother, stating that Kay killed her baby and he would suffer an eternity for it. He looked horrified, frightened more than ever. Kay began to slam her head against the kitchen wall again, screaming for her child. She began to say she was in there and she needed to come out. She'd miss her due date. A began to scream back, screeching that their baby was dead. She didn't exist. But Kay was mad. Kay pushed A and A pushed back. He pushed her right into the drywall. There was an empty cavity in the wall. She fell, hit her head, and crumbled right in. I have never seen something so raw and awful. A filmed his wife's body crumbling in between the wall and flooring. He didn't cry. He simply posted it to YouTube. The death of his own wife. Stuck between the floorboards, eyes wide open. I called the police having reviewed it, and they said A killed himself soon after, but no one came for their bodies. They died quiet, unknown deaths that had a clear solution and no consequences. This is the horrible truth. We have no control over other people's lives, yet we view them. We conceive of them, and then they go. I remember A and K, despite their tragedy. It is the fact that the internet will remove them from any archive whatsoever until some YouTuber makes a video about their tragedy. Dear valid user, we are writing to inform you of a recent data breach resulting in the potential loss of your personal information, including but not limited to name, address, contacts, credit account, DNA profile, PI chip access. Due to the recent increase in identify replacement incidences, we recommend all users report to the nearest citizen centers for immediate revalidation and processing within 30 minutes to prevent account terminated. Interment officers dispatched. Please remain calm. And with that, our time together is coming to an end. If you have a story you would like me to narrate, whether it be true or fictional, you have 3 ways you can send it my way. Either go to my website, email it to me, or go to my subreddit. All the links are down below or in the show notes. Second, all the people on screen right now are the people who help support this channel through Patreon or my memberships. Last but never least, I'd like to thank the writers who let me read their stories this evening. I like the ideas you guys came up with, and how you wrote them. It was very well done, and thank you guys so much for letting me narrate them. If you enjoyed these stories, hit that like button and make sure it feels it. If you're new, please subscribe and turn that pretty little bell to all notifications. And of course, I would absolutely love a comment. Tell me what you thought of these stories, or what kind of stories you like in the future, anything like that. Or, even another idea, if you guys want me to bring back the word of the week. I was thinking about it recently, and I would love your feedback on whether or not you would like it. If you're on the podcast and are able to, please leave me a review, and if you're on Spotify, there are questions that you can always answer if you wish to. If you'd like to help this channel/podcast grow, please just share it with anyone who might enjoy these stories. It helps quite a bit. And if you'd like to help in more financial ways, I do have, of course, Patreon and memberships, where for $1 a month you get early access and a few other bonuses as well. Links are down below, or there's always a little button there. And if you'd like to do a one-time kind of donation thing, I do have PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, and Super Thanks for YouTube. All of that will never be expected, but always appreciated, guys. Just thank you so much for watching and listening. It always has and always will mean the world to me. I love narrating these stories, and I love finding new stories for you guys to listen to. Something maybe you haven't heard before. Sleep tight and don't let 42 bite.